Hello and welcome. So this is another what did I get video. So the last one you would have seen that I got a Sizzix Sidekick as a replacement for my baby blue machine. I go through that, what you get with it and what you can do with it in my last video, which I can put a link up for in the top right hand corner. Then this next video is also what did I get. So as you know, Linda is the other half of Best Friend Cards. She knows that I watch a lot of YouTube, specifically Deb Hallett. Shout out to Deb. Deb uses Brusho Powders quite a bit, and I quite fancy having a go at that. So I'd kind of mentioned it on a couple of occasions. And for Christmas, Lynn bought me some Brusho Powders. So I'm going to get those out and show you. Okay, so they come in this box, and there's 12 colours in the box. When I have seen Deb using them on her videos, she has them with little push pins in the top, because these powders are very fine and I'm clumsy. I can't say the same for Deb because I don't know personally, but the way that she uses them is she takes this pin out, taps some of the colour out, and then you spritz it with some water. So the colours that we've got are turquoise, dark brown, emerald green, lemon, black, scarlet, leaf green, yellow, ultramarine, purple, brilliant red, and finally orange. We put push pins in all of these so that they were ready to go when we wanted to craft. In the box with the Brushos, you get a booklet with all of the available colours. So 12 there is a selection of the colours that you can get. So there are more on there. And then there are some other sets in there. So this is basically a catalogue for purchasing. So yeah, I've been watching Deb use hers, and specifically she taps some out on dry card. So Linda didn't really know what to do with them, so she did some internet research and found that you could do the way I had seen Deb use it, so tapping some out. So she bought me, as well as the powders, a stack of watercolour card so we could have a play. And whilst we were down there, the pair of us decided to have a go. So these are double-sided. So these are effects from just, as I say, taking the pin out, tapping them on. You can barely see it on the paper, but when you spritz it with water, and I've got some, we can do some today. When you spritz it with water, they come out and they're really very, very beautiful. So these were all spritz. That's probably a very good representation of what you get. So these have not been sprayed very much, whereas this here has been sprayed quite a bit. That one's been sprayed quite a bit. So again, some hasn't been spritzed very much and some has. Also, in doing her research, she noted that you could make it up into, because they are watercolour powders, so you could make them up into watercolour paints. So she bought me a palette and some brushes. So we had to go with these whilst I was down there as well, and that is how we managed to create some very rough brush marks on there. A rainbow effect. And to do this, I sprinkled a little bit of powder in these, and then spritzed a little bit of water and picked it up with a brush and painted it on like you would with watercolour painting. So yeah, these are just some rough. We were really only messing around with them, and we've used very, very little. So a little goes a long way with these. So that's what I've done with those. These big splats on here. She also bought a pack of pipettes. So you suck some water up in those, put your Brushos down and drop them, or you can drop the water first and then tap the Brusho powder in. So really very excited to get creative with these. I'm going to show you a couple of examples, just using the same technique that Deb uses, and then I'm going to be using some of this in future videos, so keep your eye out for those. So I think I'm going to have a go with the red and the black because we've got Valentine's coming up, and if it turns out okay, I might actually use it. So I'm going to take one of the sheets of the watercolour card, and that is pre-cut, and I will measure that for you. Bear with me. So that's pre-cut, and that is 7 by 5. So that's a perfect size to go onto a card. So let's find Scarlet. The other one I'm looking for is black. So we've got Scarlet and black. I've got my little spray bottle with some water in it. And I've also got some kitchen roll, because you get different effects. You get different effects if you blot it or if you leave it. So let's have a play with that. So I'm going to go down with some Scarlet. Immediately putting the pin back in because I don't want that to fall over and it all to fall out onto the side. So if you can see, I've got the tiniest amount of Scarlet powder on there, and I'm just going to go in with not a few taps of the black. So at the moment that looks pretty uninspiring. Doesn't really look like it's going to do much. So now I'm going to spray it with some water, so I'm hoping this will lift. Obviously, the more water you put on it, the stronger it's going to get. You can pick it up and move the water around. I think I'm going to put a little bit more water here because there's a bit of black there. I think because that's quite wet, I'm now going to leave that to dry. So that's just a basic explanation of Brusho powders, a very simple demonstration of how it works. Obviously, the more you mix the colours, the more bright things get. And as I say, I will be using these in future videos. So if you're interested in that, please do keep your eye out for that. And if you've got any ideas for what you'd like to see me do with Brushos, please leave me a comment. I'll be happy to hear that and give it a go. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, please give us a like, and hopefully I shall see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello. So I've been a bit busy with this dye. This I bought at a craft show some years ago, and I thought the reds and the blacks Brushos would look good coming through some hearts. So I've had a bit of a play. I've got loads of different hearts cut. I've cut some from the grey. I've cut some from the ones that I did with Linda over Christmas, and I've cut some out of red. So this die cuts this aperture out completely, and this one cuts this. So that will sit in there, and then I could paper piece back in different colours if I wanted to. So I'm going to make a Valentine's card, or I'm going to start to make a Valentine's card. So I may include this on a different video, but this is just a quick on the end of the Brushos, just to give you an idea of what you can do with it. So I'm going to do a 5 by 7. I'm going to cut the excess off the back of here. So this will be the card front, and then this will go in and stick in, and then I will put my sentiment up here. So that's a quick idea of what you can do with the Brushos in case you were kind of struggling with how it could be used. Yeah, simple behind a die cut, and that could be behind any die cut. It could be behind a flower, a hexagon, an animal. It could be a dragon with a speckled back. I mean, one of these would be great for a dragon or a lizard, maybe. So yeah, just an idea of what you can do with the Brushos as a little bonus on the end. Hope you've got some kind of ideas of what you could use Brushos for. And I'll see you next time.